Good evening, you're watching News Mongolian World. I'm your host, Taner Kambatar. And for top stories, meeting held for the second phase of the consultative polling. Prime Minister Oyun-Erdene pays an official visit to the Republic of Korea. Democratic Party presents its new program for poverty reduction. And for the news, stay tuned. In December of 2022, Parliament issued a resolution on holding a consultative poll on election and political party legislation. A meeting is taking place on Tuesday for the second phase of the consultative poll, and the Parliament members provided some updates on Monday. On December 22nd, Parliament issued a resolution and approved holding the consultative poll. Parliament also established a working group to support the poll. The first phase of the poll was conducted last month. On Tuesday, a meeting for the second phase of the poll is being organized with more than 800 people selected from a pool of 1,570.
Ever since I was elected Deputy Speaker of Parliament, I've said the law on elections is unsuitable for today's society. Political parties have held many meetings on this issue. The DP will not support the amended constitution because the law contains many provisions that cannot be supported. On the other hand, societal issues that aren't working will be discussed by the advisory board. The working group is trying to make the changes people want and expect to be effective. Amendments to the law on elections and the law on political parties need to be made as soon as possible. Also, in the case of discussing amendments to the constitution, attention will only be paid to perfecting the classical form of parliament.
Mongolian Prime Minister Oyun-Erdene is paying an official visit to South Korea as the two nations seek to strengthen political and economic ties. Prime Minister arrived in South Korea on Monday for a 5-day visit and plans to hold talks with Prime Minister Han Duck-soo on Wednesday. It is the first official visit to Korea by a Mongolian Prime Minister in 12 years. During his visit, the Prime Minister will attend a forum with business leaders from two nations and visit the southeastern port city of Busan, which is bidding for the 2030 World Expo. The visit by the Mongolian Prime Minister will serve as an opportunity to further strengthen the strategic partnership between South Korea and Mongolia. On February 14th, the Prime Minister received the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea, Park Jin, as part of his first visit to the Republic of Korea. Prime Minister Oyun-Erdene expressed his happiness to meet with Foreign Minister Park Jin in Seoul after his official visit to Mongolia back in 2022. Then he expressed his gratitude for taking care of the practical implementation of suitable activities in the field of supporting the exchanges of citizens. He mentioned that the government of Mongolia has announced 2023-2025 as the year of Visit Mongolia in order to promote the local tourism industry, and that the government of Mongolia is working to attract 1 million foreign tourists. The Prime Minister expressed his confidence that the parties will cooperate more closely on the principle of equality between the citizens of the two countries, providing visa waivers to Mongolian citizens traveling to South Korea for short business opportunities. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Park Jin, said that it will be a practical and effective visit aimed at strengthening the strategic partnership and cooperation between the two countries. The parties confirmed that they are committed to deepening cooperation in the regional and international arenas. Minister Park Jin noted that Busan is the second largest city in South Korea and the city visited by many Mongolians, and pointed out that Busan is competing for the right to host the World Expo 2030. The Prime Minister expressed his confidence that the South Korean government will successfully host the World Expo 2030 if Busan is selected, and Mongolia will actively support Busan. Our next story, the main opposition political party of the Mongolia Democratic Party has recently elected its chairman. On Monday, the party introduced its new program for poverty reduction. Details are in the following report.
On Monday, the leader of the Democratic Party, Rantamor, made an announcement during the irregular extended session of the Democratic Party caucus in Parliament. He spoke about the results of a recent economic and social survey. According to the survey, 70% of Mongolian citizens live below the poverty line. Some respondents said their income barely covers food and necessities. Members of the Democratic Party believe that people have become poorer due to the wrong government policies and discussed possible solutions. The Democratic Party's goals include reducing poverty as quickly as possible, supporting local business and SMEs through tax reforms, particularly by decreasing the burdens of VAT and social insurance taxes, and modifying the tax law that imposes differentiated taxation for people with the income of over 10 million Mongolian Tugriks to create and support the increase of middle-class households.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. The President of Mongolia and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Mongolia, visited Mongolia Southern Border and met with the border guards on duty.
This was the President's first meeting with active duty soldiers since the beginning of the 2023. When the President of Mongolia arrived to meet 129th Border Guard Unit, he was greeted by soldiers marching in formation. Colonel Hondra, the unit commander, made an introduction and reported to the President. During the meeting with unit personnel, President Khrushchev expressed deep gratitude on behalf of the Mongolian people for honorably protecting the 8,252-kilometer-long border. He noted that service in the border guard requires great physical strength, patience, vigilance, and constant readiness. The President promised to provide full support for improving border protection capabilities, ensuring reliability, introducing scientific and technological advancements, and creating social and legal guarantees for border guards. He also participated in a ceremony for the handover of new vehicles.
90,000 cargo containers enter Mongolia annually from Tianjin port. During a working visit, the mayor of the capital mentioned about increasing this number in the future. During his working visit, the main focus was on increasing cargo transportation in this port. Tianjin port alone covers about 52% of China's land area logistics. Tianjin port, which handles 500 million cargo containers annually, is only using 50% of its capacity. For Mongolia, coal, crude oil, and consumer goods are taken through this port. In doing so, 90% of the cargo enters the capital. The mayor emphasized that there is a need to pay attention to the level of policy in order to increase the volume of cargo and goods traffic entering Mongolia. Railway reform and modernization is absolutely necessary. In order to do this, since Russia owns more than 50% of the Mongolian railways, both sides need to talk to the Russian side and consider where to raise the necessary funds. It is not possible to look at the state budget in the future. 100 to 200 ships arrive at our port every day and unload their cargo without any queues. Tianjin port handles 90% of the world's maritime traffic. There's no problem from our side in terms of increasing the number of cargo containers to Mongolia. The most important thing is that customs clearance takes the longest time, so if we pay attention to this aspect in the future, we believe that it is possible to increase the volume of goods turnover. Mongolia has a right to use 10 hectares of land in Tianjin port for 50 years without the payment of any rent. The agreement signed back in 1997 has not been ratified until today, 26 years later. Right of use arises after investing in the land of ownership. A total of $8.6 million is required, and if transport is carried out using land that is not being leased, it will be possible to access freight at a cheaper cost. 10 hectares of land has been given to Ulaanbaatar after talking with the port authorities. In 2007, when former President Batulog was the Minister of Road Transport, a government decree was issued to transfer these 10 hectares of land to the authority of the Mongolian Railways. Unfortunately, that transfer has not yet started. In addition to cargo entering Tianjin port, the mayor emphasized the possibility of exporting domestic raw materials to the third market. Specifically, there is a solution for transporting any other type of cargo back using containers that were used for transporting coal on one side. It means that it's possible to increase the volume of cargo transportation in both directions. Now let's take a look at our regular feature on sports. The Ulaanbaatar Winter Festival event took place last weekend at the Sky Resort.
The Ulaanbaatar Winter Festival event was organized at the Sky Resort Ski Resort on February 11th and 12th, in cooperation with the Capital City Governor's Office, the Capital City Tourism Department, and Sky Resort LLC. The goal of the festival was to promote Mongolia's beautiful winter season, traditions, heritage, and unique culture, to pass it on to the youth, to introduce new and emerging winter extreme sports and travel types to the citizens of the capital, and to spend the holidays happily with the family. During the festival, Ice Archery National Championship, Amateur Competition, National Ice Hockey Championship, Amateur Competition, Snowboard Competition, Paragliding, City Championship, Snow Rugby City Championship, and other competitions were held. Features and services included parachute show, bird show, dog sled service, skiing and sledding services. More than 800 teams and athletes from Ulaanbaatar City and 21 provinces participated in the festival, as well as 30 athletes from Inner Mongolia, Buryat, and Kalmykia.
The 16th Mongolian All-People Sports Winter Games and the 7th Mongolian Children's Sports Winter Games, which started on the 6th of this month in Oyun-Erdene, Arkham Province, ended yesterday with the cross-country ski relay. The 16th Mongolian People's Games and the 7th Mongolian Children's Winter Sports Games have been successfully completed in accordance with the implementation of the regulations of organizing state-level sports games approved by the government's 2018 Resolution No. 183 on approval of regulations. At the state-level sports festival, known as the Mongolian Olympics held in Oyun-Erdene, Arkham Province, the best 760 athletes from 7 districts of the capital and 12 provinces competed for 567 medals in 6 winter sports, opening a new page in the history of sports in Mongolia. The special feature of this festival was that the State Committee for Physical Education and Sports granted Arkham Province the right to organize 2 winter sports games and signed an agreement with the governor. The team athletes, guests and representatives pointed out that it was different from the previous sports games by introducing organizational standards used at international sports festivals. The 2 games, organized for the first time at the same time, aimed to develop winter sports, clarify the succession of famous athletes, support children's sports, improve physical education among young people, and increase the skills of athletes. Tufshin Jargal, deputy governor of the province and head of the organizing committee, said that since Arkham Province received the right to organize the event in its local area, preparations were made over a long time with a team of about 300 people, and it was successfully completed with a collective spirit and efforts. The organizing committee of the festival established 9 subcommittees for each sector, such as the Subcommittee for Media, Information and Marketing Promotion, the Subcommittee for Beautification Services and Infrastructure, and the Subcommittee for Trade Service and Tourism, the Subcommittee for Security and Order, and it is the result of working closely together with each other. It was the advantage of the host province to bring out the characteristics of the province and the locality to promote this locality. The symbol of Arkham Province and Oyun-Erdene city was the mighty lion of the 16th Mongolian People's Sports Winter Games, while the symbol of the 7th Mongolian Children's Winter Sports Games was the traditional Galhu. Arkham Province and Oyun-Erdene city are defined in copper and turquoise colors, copper in yellow, turquoise in azure green, and ice in light blue. 215 lions symbolizing the 16th Winter Sport Games of all Mongolian peoples were made by local craftsmen and kept for the team athletes. Also, all the work and services related to the organization were performed by local citizens and civil society organizations, which was a great support towards the overall success. During the Winter Sports Games, 60 guides worked, advised, guided, provided information to the team athletes, and received the most thanks for their quick and efficient service. Also during the festival, a trip to Arkham Province and Oyun-Erdene city was organized, which greatly satisfied the team athletes. This year's Winter Sports Games was full of firsts, such as electronic registration of participants for the first time, Mongolian National Public Television sport channel broadcasting live for the first time, and competition roads and fields being prepared in accordance with the international standards. Also during this festival, the anthem "I Am a Mongolian Athlete" was performed for the first time, and the first listeners were athletes, teachers, coaches, and fans of the Winter Sports Festival. The words of the songs were written by Dashtanto, the honored artist of Mongolia, and the tune was composed by Oyun-Erdene. Regarding the organization of the games, Batolo, the head of the State Committee for Physical Education and Sport, said Arkham Province has set a high standard in the organization of the Winter Sports Games. The 7th Mongolian Children's Sports Winter Games were successfully organized for many days in the Arkham Province under the motto Friendship, Aspiration, Success. I would like to congratulate you personally on behalf of the athletes of our sports committee for giving importance to the games and organizing them at international level. 760 athletes from 7 districts of the capital and 12 provinces competed in speed and agility, and the best team winners were honored at the closing ceremony. Here's the weather forecast of world's major cities. Well, that's all for today, and thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.